Your heart pounds before a big meeting. Your stomach twists itself into knots whenever you think about the future. There's that sense of dread that follows you around like a shadow, turning totally normal moments into something to fear. For years, that was my life. Anxiety wasn't just a passing feeling for me, it was the architect of my world, and it was dictating every single choice I made. I honestly felt like it was an inescapable part of me, just a permanent flaw in my wiring. But what if I told you that wiring isn't permanent? What if the very thing that makes our brains so good at creating anxiety, their incredible ability to learn and adapt, is also the key to setting ourselves free? This is all thanks to something called neuroplasticity. It's the brain's amazing ability to literally recognize itself by forming new connections between brain cells. For the longest time, science thought the brain was more or less fixed after childhood, but now we know it can and does change. And that means your behaviors and reactions can change right along with it. You are not stuck. I discovered that you can systematically, intentionally break the cycle of anxiety. It's not about some magic pill, but about using practical science-backed strategies to actively build new, calmer pathways in your brain. In this video, I'm going to share the 5 steps that truly gave me back control of my own mind. These aren't just tips, they're powerful tools to help you become an architect of your own brain too. The first step is the most immediate and honestly the foundation for everything else: getting a handle on your breath. When anxiety hits, your body's fight or flight response kicks in. Your breathing gets all shallow and fast, and your body gets a rush of oxygen because it thinks you need to run from a tiger. This physical chain reaction causes things like dizziness and a racing heart, which your brain then points to as more proof that you're in danger. This is where controlled breathing becomes your superpower. By deliberately slowing your breath down, you send a direct message to your nervous system that the danger has passed. Specifically, it flips the switch on your parasympathetic nervous system. Think of it as your body's built-in brake pedal, which calms everything down. Studies have shown that a few minutes of controlled breathing can significantly improve your mood and lower anxiety, sometimes in as little as 5 minutes. Here's a really simple but profound technique called box breathing. It's used by everyone from Navy SEALs to nurses to stay calm under intense pressure. First, just gently exhale all the air out of your lungs. Then, inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 4. Then, exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 4. And finally, hold your breath again for a count of 4 before you start the cycle over. When I first started this, it felt completely unnatural. My anxious mind was screaming at me to grasp for air to speed things up. But I made myself stick with it. I practiced every morning and any time I felt that familiar tightness in my chest. And slowly but surely, I was carving out a new path in my brain. I was taught that I could choose calm instead of panic. This simple act of controlling my breath was the very first piece of evidence I had that I could, in fact, change my brain's automatic reactions. Anxiety almost never lives in the present moment. It loves to zoom into the future to spin all these catastrophic what-if stories, or it drags you kicking and screaming into the past to rewatch your greatest cringe moments. The second step is to pull your mind out of those thought loops and anchor it right here, right now. We do this with grounding techniques. Grounding works by basically interrupting that fight or flight spiral and yanking your focus away from anxious thoughts and onto what your senses are experiencing in this exact moment. It gets the thinking part of your brain busy with the world outside your head, which makes those anxious thoughts lose their power. Be sure to click the subscribe, like, and notifications button for more videos like this one. A super effective and easy to remember grounding technique is the 5-4-3-2-1 method. You can do it anywhere, anytime you feel your mind starting to spiral out of control. First, pause and just look around. Name 5 things you can see. It could be a pen on your desk, a crack in the wall, the color of your socks. Get really specific. Next, name 4 things you can physically feel. The texture of your chair, the cold glass of your phone screen, your feet flat on the floor, the fabric of your jeans. Then listen for 3 things you can hear. This could be the hum of your computer, a bird outside your window, or even just the sound of your own quiet breathing. Next, bring your awareness to 2 things you can smell. Maybe it's the faint scent of your morning coffee or soap on your hands. If you can't smell anything, just imagine 2 smells you love. And finally, identify 1 thing you can taste. It might be the leftover taste of toothpaste, or you can just notice the simple sensation of your tongue in your mouth. When my anxiety was at its peak, my thoughts felt like a hurricane. The 5-4-3-2-1 technique was my lighthouse. It didn't make the storm just vanish, but it gave me a safe, solid point to focus on until the winds died down. Every time I practiced it, it was strengthening my brain's ability to unplug from the internal chaos and reconnect with the real world. I was teaching myself that I am not my thoughts. I'm the one who observes them, and I get to choose where I put my attention. Our thoughts feel like absolute facts, don't they? But they're not. Anxious thoughts especially come from a part of your brain that's trying to protect you, but it's a little overzealous and often gets things wrong. This leads to what are called cognitive distortions, basically faulty thinking patterns. Things like catastrophizing, where you jump to the worst possible conclusion, or black and white thinking, where something is either a total success or a complete failure. Step 3 is to become a detective of your own mind, to catch these distorted thoughts, question them, and then reframe them. This whole process is called cognitive restructuring, and it's a huge part of cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, which is one of the most effective ways to treat anxiety. When you consistently challenge your automatic negative thoughts, you start to weaken the brain pathways that keep them going and build new, more realistic ones. The next time you feel that wave of anxiety, try the simple 3-step method. Catch it, check it, change it. One more time. Catch it, check it, change it. First, catch the thought. Pinpoint the exact sentence that's running through your head. For example, I'm going to bomb this presentation and everyone's going to think I'm an idiot. Actually, write it down. Second, check the thought. Now interrogate it. Be a skeptical lawyer. Ask yourself, what's the real evidence for this thought? What's the evidence against it? Am I jumping to conclusions here? How many times have I thought this before, And did the absolute worst actually happen? What would I tell a friend if they had this thought? You'll often find that your anxious thoughts start to fall apart under a little bit of scrutiny. Third, change the thought. Come up with a more balanced, realistic alternative. Instead of, I'm going to fail and be humiliated, you could reframe it as, I've prepared for this and it's normal to be nervous. I can handle it even if it's not perfect. My value as a person isn't on the line with this one presentation. I'll be honest, this felt impossible at first. My brain was so stuck in its negative groove. But I kept a thought record in a simple notebook where I'd write down the automatic thought and then my new reframed one. Over time, something incredible started to happen. My brain began to do it on its own. The new balanced thoughts started showing up automatically. I wasn't just fighting anxiety anymore. I was fundamentally changing the thought patterns that were causing it. Okay, this next step is going to sound completely backward. I want you to intentionally make time to worry. One of the most exhausting things about anxiety is how it ambushes you. It just pops up whenever it wants, interrupting your work, your family time, your sleep. Step 4 is about taking back control by putting your worries into a scheduled appointment. It's a technique literally called worry time. The idea here is that by giving your worries a specific time and place, you teach your brain to postpone anxious thoughts that pop up during the rest of the day. It shows your brain that you are in control of when you engage with these worries, which stops them from hijacking your entire day. Schedule a 15-minute worry time appointment for yourself every day, ideally at the same time and in the same place. Just try not to schedule it right before bed, for obvious reasons. Throughout the day, whenever an anxious thought comes up, you're going to acknowledge it and then consciously decide to deal with it later. Tell yourself, that's a valid worry. I'll add it to the list and think about it at my 4:30 appointment. And then actually write it down on a worry list. When your scheduled worry time arrives, you sit down with your list and let yourself worry. Go through each item, really think about it. If you can, brainstorm a solution or two for any of the problems that are legitimate. But here's the crucial part. When the 15 minutes are up, you stop. Make sure and set a timer. When it goes off, you say, okay, time's up, and you move on to a pleasant, pre-planned activity. When I started doing this, two things became clear. First, a lot of the worries that felt so incredibly urgent in the moment looked pretty ridiculous or small when I looked at them hours later. And second, by consistently postponing the worry, I was breaking the habit of immediate reaction anxiety. I was proving to my brain over and over that these thoughts were not emergencies. They could wait. This one practice gave me huge chunks of my day back, stretches of peace that I didn't even think were possible anymore. Anxiety makes our world smaller. It convinces us to avoid people, places, and situations that trigger fear. And while avoiding things gives you a little hit of relief in the short term, in the long run, it just makes anxiety stronger. Every time we dodge something we're scared of, we send a clear message to our brain. See? That was truly dangerous, and we were right to run away. That just reinforces the fear. The final, most crucial step is to reverse this by intentionally and gradually facing your fears. It's what therapists call graded exposure. Graded exposure is incredibly effective because it works through a process called habituation. Basically, if you stay in a feared situation long enough, your anxiety will naturally start to come down. Your body literally cannot stay in a peak state of panic forever. By doing this again and again, your brain learns a brand new lesson. Hey, this situation isn't actually a threat, and I can totally handle it. Here's how you can build your own ladder of bravery. First, pick a specific fear you want to work on. Let's say it's social anxiety, and your biggest goal is to go to a party and actually talk to someone. Next, break that big goal down into tiny manageable steps and arrange them from the least scary thing to the absolute most scary. This is your exposure ladder or fear ladder. So, a ladder for social anxiety might look something like this. Step 1. Text a friend you haven't talked to in a while. Step 2. Go to a coffee shop by yourself and just sit for 15 minutes. Step 3. Make eye contact with the barista and smile. Step 4. Ask a stranger for the time. Step 5. Go to a party with a friend, but just for 30 minutes. Step 6. Go to a party and start one short conversation. Start with the easiest step. Do it until your anxiety about the specific step goes way down. You might have to do it a few times. Only then do you move up to the next rung. The key is to be gradual but consistent. Each tiny victory gives your brain a little hit of dopamine, strengthening the new pathways in your brain that are associated with courage and confidence. You are literally teaching your brain how to be brave. Disclaimer: the information provided regarding health benefits is for informational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. Always consult a healthcare professional before starting any new health regimen, treatment, or if you have any questions regarding a medical condition. Individual results may vary, and the effectiveness of health benefits can differ based on personal circumstances. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So there you have it. 5 powerful science-backed steps you can use to start rewiring your brain away from anxiety. 1. Master controlled breathing to calm your body's stress response. 2. Ground yourself in the present moment to get out of those what-if spirals. 3. Question and reframe your thoughts to build more realistic thinking habits. 4. Schedule worry time to put your anxiety on your schedule, not the other way around. And 5. Take small acts of bravery to teach your brain that you are capable and you are safe. And remember, this isn't about being perfect. This is a journey of making good enough choices one day at a time. Your brain's ability to change its neuroplasticity is absolutely real, but it takes consistent practice. Think of it like building muscle. It takes time and repetition. You didn't get here overnight, and you won't build these new habits overnight either. But you can build them. You have the power to be an active participant in your own mental health. You can start this journey right now. Look back at the 5 steps and tell me in the comments below which one you're going to try first. Sharing that first step makes it real, and it connects you with a whole community of people who are on the same path. You're not alone in this. Don't forget to subscribe and check out this other video I think you will love. Thank you for watching.